Hello everybody, this is Nick Sibnewski with NS Long Exposure Photography, and today I want to do a quick video where I'm going to make some quick edits and color corrections to this long exposure that I had taken at Cocoa Beach at the pier at night. So what I used was a Sony a7S II with a Sony 24-70 G Master with an aperture of 2.8. I shot it at an ISO of 320 at a 24 millimeter at that 2.8 aperture for 20 seconds. Now, while I can't change any of those settings after I've already shot the photo, what I can do is make some very light edits for color, to mask things out. For example, I'm gonna do my best to work on this area down here where I have a very big shadow from this rock that was on the sand. So I was using an RGB light, and I should have angled it a little more upwards. However, I wanted to capture some detail in the shadows, on the small shells and rocks that were up on shore. But this shadow is just a little bit too much, so I'm going to see if I can do anything about that. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the color. So as you can see here, I obviously had the light on a very blue tone or color, and what I want to do is I just want to bring down the saturation of that blue a little bit because it really isn't serving any purpose for my photo here. By the way, I'm editing in Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud Edition. I'm not using the Classic Edition. This will just be a little bit easier for me to go through the settings on the video. So I'm going to bring down that saturation just a little bit, probably to about 59 here. That way it still has a little tint of blue, but it's also a little bit back to the original color of the sand. I'm also going to bring my color temperature up a lot. I'm going to make the... here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little bit more orange into the side of the sky. This is the direction that the sun was setting in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up here. I'm going to bring my exposure down just a hair to 0.20 is fine. My contrast, I don't really want to bring my contrast up too much because I don't want to forfeit any of the detail that I have in this area over here. So I'm just going to bring up my contrast just to maybe 8 right there. My highlights, I don't really have to change too much. If anything, I'm actually going to boost them a little bit just to kind of bring out the starburst in these light posts here on the pier. I don't really have anything that's super overexposed that's going to ruin the look that I'm going for. I really want them to stand out because they're equally spaced apart, and I think it's adding something nice to the photo here. So our shadows, we're not going to worry about this. Our whites, I'm actually going to bring the whites up a good amount. Like I said, I really want to focus on bringing this area out for some reason. This is just the look that I want for this photo. The blacks, I'm not really going to change the black too much. My vibrance and saturation, I tend to not really boost my saturation or the vibrance. I mean, that's not really the best thing that everybody should do on their photos. While it may give a cool look, it can be very cliche and very overused for people to just boost the saturation in a photo and then to just pass it on. So after I've done the blue here, I'm gonna go ahead and see I have a little bit of orange in the water here and on the roof of the hut on the end of the pier. So I'm gonna bring the saturation of just the oranges up a little bit, and I'm not gonna change the luminance nor the hue. I'm not going to change the hue at all either. But the saturation I did bring up to 40. And also you can see yellow. We have a lot of yellow on the side here. But again, I'm not really going to worry about the yellow too much. Actually, if anything, I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring it down to about 50 here. And the hue, I'm actually going to bring to probably a -20. As you can see, going from our original photo, it's getting rid of a lot of the green that's in this area here, and also down here in the reflection of the water. So I'm starting to like this a lot better. no green on the side. It's more of its natural color, and I did want to bring out, like I said, the orange over here and on the roof. I feel like this is just gonna give us a little bit more of a variety, and it's gonna blend a lot more. It's gonna blend a lot better than it is in the water, as opposed to starting out. It's more of a flat brownish color, whereas if we add some saturation into it, it's gonna look a little bit nicer. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check the clarity and the dehaze. I'm just going to see, I'm just going to bring them up and down, see what happens, and hopefully settle on a spot that I like. I don't really want to bring this up too much. If anything, I'm going to bring this up about 10 or 12. So it's not too bad there. And then the dehaze, I'm also not going to bring that up. If anything, I'm actually going to add a little bit. I'm going to go to -3 here, and I think that looks rather fine to me. Green, I'm not really going to worry about. Lens corrections, I always see what lens corrections that are built into Lightroom has to offer. I'm not even going to use them, actually. I actually like the photo a little bit better without. However, I am going to, if anything, do maybe a +1 or 2 for the vignette here. I just wanted to add a little bit of white onto the borders of this. That's something that the lens corrections will do, is just doing it a little bit too much for what I wanted. So now that that's done, this is the basic, difference that I wanted in the photo. As you can see, the before and after. The original, has a lot of blue, and it's a little flat in the water over here, but afterwards just bringing out a little bit more of that orange, making the sand a little bit more of a neutral, natural color for this image. I think it does it well, and nothing too in depth. But now I'm going to edit this in Photoshop, and I'm going to see if I can touch up this little spot here. So I'm going to wait for this to open up in Photoshop. Okay, so now that I have my photo open in Photoshop here, I'm going to just be using a very, very simple tool. It's the spot healing tool, or the Band-Aid tool, whatever you want to call it. Its shortcut is J on your keyboard, unless you have your keybinds changed. However, this Band-Aid tool is a very, very simple and quick fix tool. I do not recommend this for anything that you're going to have printed or on physical media. This is solely just going to be for the purpose of a very quick fix so that you can share this on social media. Because don't forget, when we're on social media, we're going to be using our smartphones. And basically, the pictures are only going to be about the equivalent of this big on our smartphones, so we're really not going to be able to see all that much detail on our phones as we are going to be able to see here on a 24-inch screen. It's going to be a big difference. So having minor imperfections that can only be seen from very up close sometimes is okay on social media platforms. So I'm going to select a tool, and I'm going to use a relatively large brush size. You can use the brackets on your keyboard to increase or decrease the size of the brush. So what I'm going to do here is I'm quickly going to tap around the area and to see what I can do at the edges. This is going to kind of give you an idea of where it's sampling the nearest parts of the photo from. So what this tool does is it will, for every click or brush stroke that you make, it's going to sample part of an image or part of the image from nearby, and it's going to replace that with what you have decided to cover up. So in this scenario, I'm just going to take the brush and I'm going to do one stroke over the top, a second stroke over the middle, and then a final stroke over the end. And as you can see, while it's not perfect here, it's definitely much better than when we first started and had that huge shadow that was really just eye-catching and drawing a lot of attention. And we can even do that in areas like this, and we can just touch up the shadows little by little if they're a little bit too much for our taste or what we want in the photo. And as you can see, it really does give a better look overall. Now, like I said, zoomed in up close, you can very much see the imperfections in this. However, when we zoom out all the way, we really can't see all that much, and we really overlook that spot. Now, I definitely can go ahead and improve the color or the texture in this spot. However, I just wanted to give you guys a quick and better look at an easy way to touch up photos and color correct them before you share them online. Hopefully this inspires you to get out, take long exposures or any photos of your own and start editing them in Adobe Lightroom. I'm Nick Sypniewski. Thank you for watching.